big day for Liberty News TV. Hello and welcome. I'm Norvell Rose, here on our new LNTV set in the Real America TV studios. We're marking an exciting new era in bringing you the news, analysis, and opinion that'll help you put our world into perspective. And to launch our new look, an exclusive interview concerning the shocking case of young Justina Pelletier, the teenage girl at the center of a bitter struggle over her custody and her health care, a struggle pitting her distressed parents against the government bureaucracy and Big Brother medicine. Our sister organization, Grassfire, has been at the forefront of the effort to reunite Justina with her parents. Our Grassfire colleagues have spoken with Justina's father, Lou Pelletier. Here now, exclusive excerpts of that telephone conversation and shocking accusations from Mr. Pelletier, who claims that the authorities who seized his sick daughter have very likely been conducting medical experiments on her, which helps to explain, he says, why Justina has been prevented from freely communicating.
Why? Because they didn't want her telling us the truth as to what they were trying to do to her, which the politically correct term is behavior modification, another fancy word for torture, which they were saying what everything she had that was medical was not medical, it was psychiatric. So they were going to prove, even if it meant killing her, that what she had was not medical, but mental or psychiatric. It just rings through and through throughout the whole hospital. They look for any lab rat that might fall into their guidelines for what they're looking for, and they grab them.
Pelletier also charges that Justina's health has not improved, but in fact has deteriorated, while she's been under the authoritarian control of the state of Massachusetts, Boston Children's Hospital, and the Big Brother government medical complex.
2 weeks before she was in that hospital, she was in 2 ice skating shows. Now, 13, 14 months later, she's pretty much paralyzed below the hips, almost no strength above the hips, bloated stomach, red lines coming out of where her cecostomy tube is. Just so many signs of either from neglect or from actual abuse.
Lou Pelletier also tells us this sort of forced seizure of children and treating them without the parents' consent and against the parents' wishes is not an isolated instance.
But this has been happening and continues to happen to children across this country, where somebody has a medical diagnosis and somebody comes along and says whatever they have isn't medical, it's psychiatric. This is a national problem, which is why I've said, just because when I get Justina out, I am not stopping there. I'm not stopping until we create what I want to call the Justina law, so that any hospital, doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist who comes along and said somebody's medical diagnosis is full of phooey, really what they have is in their head, A, they better be damn sure, and B, there have to be such consequences on them from having their licenses taken and potential, criminal, going to jail. Because until this behavior stops, parents across the country will always be fearful of going to a hospital with their child, fearing that they have that child taken away.
And as the legal fight continues over Justina's custody and care at the state level, Lou Pelletier reveals that federal authorities have also been involved.
We've had the FBI involved with this since March of last year, saying this was, a kidnapping, cross state lines. And if they really wanted to, they could have made an arrest, but it would set a precedent. So nobody wants to be the brave one. So they all turn their heads and they all say it's in the juvenile court system. Let it work its way out. And the number of people that are starting to come out of the closet that this has been happening to. This abuse of power, this political tiddlywinks that have been played by this government with this agency, with these agencies. We know the government can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. Yet when a private institution can use a government agency to do its dirty work, this government is in trouble. This country is in trouble.
To listen to the entire conversation with Justina's father, Lou Pelletier, click on over to grassfire.com. And we thank you for joining us for the launch of the new LNTV. I'm Norvell Rose, and we'll see you next time.